Buongiorno.
Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Hi.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody.
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Hi, good morning. Nice to meet you.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Welcome. Okay. Just a second. We are organizing the last moments for the entrance of the participants. Thank you very much for the huge interest you've shown to our restricted cluster call, and a warm welcome again from myself, Ivanisevic, Program Communication Manager, on behalf of the program structures, JS and MA. Just a couple of minutes, we are waiting to start. We will have a very focused info session today. Okay, on the call for proposal that was launched, and we hope that it will be useful for you. Okay. Okay, so another information, useful information, is that we are registering this info session with intention also to upload the registration on YouTube. Okay. So if, good morning, Raffaella. And if you want or prefer, you can have your cameras on or off, while we are asking you kindly to keep your microphones muted when you are not intervening, just not to, in order not to interrupt other speakers. Okay, it will help us a lot. Then, okay, I think we are all here. Okay, perfect. So I will. Okay. I hope you can see my screen. Just a short recap of this morning info session, as we already sent you this by email. Now, at the beginning, we will have greetings from Managing Authority and welcome to this event. So I will give the floor soon to Mrs. Maria Rienzi, our Managing Authority member. Then we will have a short focus on a call announcement of this restricted call. That will be presented, that will be presented by our colleagues from branch office in Zadar, Mr. Jurisic and Mrs. Marusic. Then we will have an insight on financial requirements presented by the program financial manager, Mrs. Bozana Beslic. Afterwards, we will have a short presentation on communication requirements by myself. Afterwards, we will give a huge space and time for the questions and answers live from participants. I wanted to inform you that for this session, as we already highlighted in the email sent to you last week, we will give the priority in answering, first of all, to the questions that have been posed by you by the means of the registration form. There was a dedicated space. And some of these have already been treated in fax that we have also published this morning on our webpage dedicated for this call. You can find it on contacts and help, fact session, and the cluster call. Currently, there are 8 facts, so basically we replied to some of these posed by the means of the G form. Also, other participants are free to ask questions. We kindly ask you to book your order by writing in a chat your name and surname and the name of your organization. So after this, we can give you a space. You can open your microphone and you can intervene live. Or if you prefer, you can also book by writing down a question in written in chat. We will register that. Okay, this is all from my side. Please keep your microphones muted again. And I give the floor to Mrs. Maria Rienzi, our managing authority member of the program 1420.
Thank you, Thea, and good morning, everyone. As Thea said, you are all welcome to this info session. I'm here on behalf of Ms. Flavia Zuccon, our head of the managing authority, who could not be with us this morning for other commitments she had before. And I give you her greetings and encouragement for the efficacy of this meeting. As you know, this meeting is addressed to the eligible subjects that can apply for this restricted call. And even if the resources available for this call are not very high, maybe in comparison with other calls for proposals we launched before, we would put great expectations in the results, outcomes of this cluster call, because we consider it a sort of bridge between the current programming period and the next one, and the opportunity, a very precious opportunity for you all to meet among different projects, to share experience, best practices, and to start and lay the foundation for designing the projects to be funded in the next programming period about to start. So I don't want to waste your time, and without further ado, I give the floor to Silvia Comiati, and enjoy the meeting.
Okay, good morning, everybody, also from my side. I think we can now start, as we are almost 100 participants, and we can start with the first presentation and introduction. Then we will be able and happy to reply to all the questions, hopefully, and be very concrete and very helpful in this event. So I will leave the floor now to my colleague for the start of the presentation.
Audio.
I will have to mute
Eccolo.
everybody's microphone, so please don't be angry, me or my colleagues, because there are interferences, okay? Thank you.
Hello. So I assume it's my turn to start, and I would like to welcome all of you and thank you for being here with us today. I'm very pleased to be able to give you an introduction to this restricted call, how we call it abbreviated cluster call. The general objective of the call is to enhance and maximize the experience and results achieved by the Italy-Croatia program through the implementation of Standard Plus and Standard projects that are implemented or they are still in implementation in current programming period. These projects are a positive example of cross-border cooperation, and this last call within ongoing programming period intends to fully exploit the results and to increase the knowledge base on the different topics. Also as a preparation for the next or the currently achieved results. Also results that are predicted in ongoing standard projects. Transferability is an important aspect of these projects, including transferability to other communities within the program area, but also beyond the program area. Here you can see the clusters that are predicted. Later in the presentation, I will give you more information about each of them, including the list of selected projects able to contribute to each cluster. Driving principles in formulation of the clusters were quality of outputs achieved by the funded projects, as well as the level of implementation up to now. Clusters are in line
We have some audio problems with Renata. I don't know, we cannot hear Renata. So I take this opportunity to ask you kindly if it's possible to close also the videos of the participants for the moment, just to give some more band. Renata, we cannot hear you. Renata.
Just a second, I can hear you. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, Lovro, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you, Lovro.
A ne može bez mikrofona. Ne može bez mikrofona. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, you can hear me now, okay?
Yes.
I'll let Renata will take my place.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
You hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can continue with my presentation. I'm not sure where I was last time when you heard me, but okay, if we are talking about thematic focus and the clusters identified, I will repeat that the driving principle in formulation of the clusters or quality of the outputs achieved in the funded projects, as well as the level of implementation up to now of standard projects. Also, the clusters are in line with the EUSER flagship projects and are relevant for new Italy-Croatia program and its specific objectives. So please, new slide, Angelo. Here you can see the type of eligible partners, either lead partners or the project partners. The project partners can be public bodies at national, regional, or local level, bodies governed by a public law, private bodies, and international organizations. As the lead partner, just public bodies and the bodies governed by the public law are eligible. Again, the rule is here is that just one organization can be a lead partner or project partner in one proposal, or that the same organization cannot be a project partner or lead partner in more than one proposal. This has to be properly coordinated by especially lead partners, seen as previous slide, please. This is still the one. Since in case that more than one proposal includes the same lead partner, all submitted proposal will be rejected. Here I have to say that CO system performs some automatic checks on the data, but CO will not prevent an organization to apply as a lead partner in more than one project application. So it's a sole responsibility of the applicant. If you are eligible lead partner in more than one project, you should bear in mind this. But I think later in the presentation, my colleagues will talk about this also more. So next slide, please. Eligible lead partner and project partners here you can see divided for their role in the project as a project partner or as a lead partner. But it's important to stress out that there are public institutions that will be considered also as a department, which includes ministries, regions, counties, or universities, and means that one department is an organizational unit within this institution, and it will be considered as a separate partner. Same as in the previous call, assimilated partners are eligible, and they have equal rights and obligation as partners located in the program area. So next slide, please. Yes, here you can see the basic information related to number of partners. Each project must involve at least 3 partners, out of which one from Croatia and one from Italy, which are involved in standard plus or standard project. The partners, they have to bring know-how and experience from at least 3 different projects belonging to the same cluster and thematic focus. The maximum number of partners is 8. Also, here you have to be aware that if one organization is involved in more than one proposal as the project partner, it will be excluded from the all projects proposal. This will lead to new eligibility assessment of the partnership requirements related to minimum number of the partners. So when you gather your partnership, keep in mind that this consequence can jeopardize whole the project and the partnership. Anyway, later in further slides, my colleague will talk also about this. Next slide, please. Yes. To get more information and to research or create a pool of potential partners, you can explore the data that are available on the program website. Here you can see on the website the part where you can find eligible projects. Firstly, here is this document entitled List of Operation Beneficiaries. Actually, this is one Excel document with all projects and partners involved, but you can select and search eligible projects and the partners and see the partners that could be involved in your projects. The document is available within the section Docs and Tools on the website under the Program Documents menu, as you can see here on the slide. Also, on the next slide, you can see the program website where under the project section is a discover option. There you can search for the project and project partners also. You can find description of the partners, their experience, and also the relevant project deliverables and results and other materials that could help you to find proper project and formulate your partnership and partners. Next slide, please. As already described in defining thematic clusters, contribution to the territorial cooperation was one of the main guiding ideas. You can see again the driving principles in definition the cluster, which were contribution to EU strategy for the Adriatic and Ionian region, and with relevant pillars and flagship projects. Then connection with Adrian thematic clusters, also alignment to the specific objectives of the program Interreg Italy-Croatia 21-27. Next slide, please. So here you can see all this connection and divided according to the team and the clusters. The process itself of defining thematic clusters was finalized with these 5 identified clusters with specific team and their main features. In the application package, more precisely in fact sheet 3, you can find the detailed description of each cluster and their contribution to the relevant macro-regional strategy and other documents, as it is stated also here. And last slide, please. Finally, the process of defining thematic clusters includes clearly in the identification of the eligible projects. You can see also here in the slides. In this slide, there are between 7 and 10 projects, depending on the thematic clusters. And these projects present the best practice in this current program and cross-border cooperation. They have produced valuable outputs that could be further capitalized also in the future programming period. So we hope that their results will have multiply effects, not just in this program, but beyond the program area and beyond the current program period. Now I'm giving the floor to my colleague, Lovro Jurisic, who will lead you through the cluster indicators, project work plan, and deliverables.
Thank you, Renata. Good day, everybody. So, what else is new in this particular call? This is the first time each of the projects has to select a number of cluster indicators from a predefined list. The list is here. I'll read it out. So the first indicator is the number of online and offline events with external stakeholders organized. Second indicator is number of digital campaigns held. Third one is the number of digital communication activities carried out, excluding events and campaigns. Fourth is the number of thematic studies or reports aimed at maximizing project results. Fifth cluster indicator to be able to be chosen is number of project ideas developed for 21-27 program period. Sixth cluster indicator could be number of study visits organized. And last one is the number of joint actions with other programs or EU initiatives. What is important to emphasize that it is mandatory to contribute to at least one cluster indicator, but as you will see later on in my presentation, you will probably select maybe even 5 or more cluster indicators. How to select cluster indicators? This is a screenshot from CU system, and in section F, project key data, after you open it, you can go to the next slide. The next window that opens is a big window with a lot of descriptions necessary, but at the very bottom of that window to the right hand side, you will see cluster indicator, which I have circled in red here. And when you click on it, it will open a new window, which is the screenshot I have put at the bottom 2/3 of this slide. As you can see here, you select one of those 7 indicators. You select the unit in which it will be measured and your target value. This target value is important for, of course, for your project to see what it will achieve, but also for us as evaluators and also for assessing the success of the project. As you can see also on this slide, after you add one indicator and you press save, then you can add another indicator, put unit and target value. I will show you later on what is the connection between this target value and actual work plan. Next slide, please. So another novelty in this particular call is the fact that the work plan is predefined completely in the sense that activity list and work package names are predefined. In work package 1, we have day-to-day project management, coordination, and internal communication as one activity, and financial management as the second activity. Work package 2, which is communication, we have online and offline events, promotional campaigns and media relations, and digital and web-based activities. And in work package 3, we have exchange and exploitation of project results, contributions to the next programming period, and awareness raising and management. This is all predefined, and it's not possible to have less or more activities than these present. So I will not talk about work package 1, which is more or less the same in all projects. But regarding work package 2, which is communication, how to fill it out, we go to the section EI project. We click on update, which is circled in red here. And on the next slide, on the next window in CU, the first screenshot is at the bottom of the page. We have project locations, project work plan, and project budget. I have circled update on project work plan, and when you click on it, it opens a predefined list of work packages. You can see 1, 2, and 3. And then on the right-hand side, activities list, we can click on it, and then it opens another window in CU, which lists these activities. These are, as I read them before, I will not read them again, offline, online events, and other things. And when we click update on offline and online events, it opens up another CU page where we can describe the activity, put its start date, end date, and what's most important, we put deliverables from this particular activity. Next page, please. Next slide, please. So a work package 2 has 5 mandatory deliverables. That's at least one kickoff conference with prior event promotion and detailed follow-up report. One high-level sectoral event on the main cluster activity with the participation of at least 2 external participants. One participation in events organized by the program or EU institutions. EUSER thematic steering groups or other clustering events organized jointly with other projects financed by our program or other ETC programs of the Adriatic area. One article published on relevant EU or national magazines, and one digital communication web-based product. So these are 5 minimum deliverables. Of course, you are encouraged to foresee more. And how is this connected to cluster indicators? Remember those 7 I showed at the beginning of the presentation. So deliverables from work package 2 directly feed into one of the first 3 cluster indicators. So when you plan your work package 2 deliverables, you just add them up partner by partner, and you get your value for indicator 1, 2, or 3, or all 3 of them. Next slide, please. So the last work package is work package 3, which we call clustering activities. We go again to section I, project. We click on update. On the next CU page, we click on project work plan update. We find clustering thematic activities. We click on activities list, and then it opens up, and we click on any one of those 3 activities. And again, we can describe the activities, start date, end date, and importantly, we can list activity deliverables that we plan to achieve. And this is again the minimum list of these deliverables. Exploitation plan, at least 2 project ideas for the next programming period, at least 1 study visit, and at least 1 additional deliverable chosen by the project. Since this is the main work package, thematic work package, you have much more freedom in choosing additional deliverables. Again, this ties into the cluster indicators. On the next slide, the last indicators 4, 5, 6, and 7. You can see at least direct link between indicators 5 and 6 and the previous slide. So again, you go partner by partner, you come up with deliverables, you add them all up, and then you decide on the value of cluster indicator. I think the next slide is already financial, so I give the floor to my colleague Bozana Beslic. I hope I have been clear enough, but that's why we have Q&A later on, so we can clarify some things more.
Thank you, Lovro. I hope you can hear me well, because obviously this remote work is not always the happiest and the most optimal way. Now we are coming to the financial part of the call, and I would like to stress out 2 important things. In the next few slides, I will present the main aspects, financial aspects of this restricted call. But for all of you who are designing your project proposals, please refer to the call announcement, the document, and fact sheet number 3 for more details, for more let's say explanations, and of course during the Q&A. Please do not rely only on these slides, which are of course useful as a summary of what of financial aspect of the call. As you all know, in this call for proposals, program allocate a budget of 3 million euros. 2.5 million is actually ERDF funding. This amount is equally divided to hopefully and potentially 5 cluster projects that program will be funded, with available budget, maximum available budget per project of 600,000 euros. Co-financing rate is the standard one. It is equal to 85% of total eligible cost, so it is fixed co-financing rate. just to remind it. These slides provide some, let's say, reminders related to the project size, duration, and reporting, what is, of course, important to know at the beginning of this process. As I said, indicative total budget per project is equal to 600,000 euros. So we would like to have to receive project proposals targeting these values. Because the program expects to fund five projects, 5 clusters, we call them 5 clusters, one per each thematic, what already was presented by my colleagues. Call also sets some deadlines, and it is visible that each project must have implementation period with a maximum of 15 months. In any way, the end date for those projects is 30 June of 2023. And the expected starting date for our projects is April next year. Program plan to have 2 reporting periods for these projects which will be contracted. One in 2022, 1 reporting period, and one in 2023. For you, this is very important information, because we all know that we are in a phase of planning of the budget for the next 3 financial years. So this is, let's say, a level of information that you might need within your institution. Latest reporting date is planned for September 2023. As you know, that the program also officially ends in 2023. Program, of course, what else is important, support activities that are taking place in program area. So activities must be implemented within the program area, but if you are planning to have some activities outside of the program area, that must be explicitly foreseen in application form. And if it is not, but we advise you to foresee such activities in application form already during the design of the project. But if it is not, it can be later requested and authorized by managing authority or JS, but before the implementation of such activities. We expect that such activities will be mainly related to maybe some study tours or other specifically designed activities. Can we, next slide? Also call document and fact sheet 3 clearly list ineligible, not eligible or ineligible costs. Here is a summary of them. Besides those generally ineligible costs like VAT, fines, costs for gifts, and other. In this call, ineligible costs are preparation costs and in-kind contribution. Just to remind you on these 2 aspects which are also ineligible within this 4th restricted call. Next slide. Program within 4th call for proposal, cluster call, provides offer potential applicants 3 different financing options. They are listed here, and in the next slides I will just clarify each of these options. Option
A is related to the real costs. It is always available option, while options B and C mainly rely on simplified cost options and use of flat rates for design of the project budget. So when it comes to these financing options and which one to choose, we put some important notes on this slide. First of all, it is important to understand that financing options, one of these three listed, must be chosen at project level. This is not a regular practice, and usually it was open to the partners to decide how to design the budget. But this time, in this restricted call, we would like to have a harmonized approach on project level. So partnership need to decide which option will is the most suitable for the projects which you will apply to this call. Financing options choose at the beginning and later on contracted cannot be changed during the implementation. So this is another important message when it comes to decisions and which financing options to choose. Also excluded cost categories in these calls are related to equipment and small-scale infrastructure and works. That is also an important aspect. And this call does not foresee any advance payment. So in budget planning, those informations are very, very important. Of course, like for all other projects implemented within the Italy-Croatia program, fact sheet 6, which regulate actually implementation, is applicable also for this cluster call with some, let's say, restrictions which are clearly written in the document, but also in this call package. Flat rates, which I will present in each of the options later, are automatically calculated in CU. Program will not provide any template for calculation, any costs. You can use your best practices for the budgeting, what you already use within your institutions. But also provide some we will provide some examples here and clarify later on during the Q&A sessions. Next slide. So financing option A, it is not something new. It is regular and usual available financing options in all grant schemes. It relays on real costs and the planning of real costs, and later reporting on a real cost is clearly defined in fact sheet 6, which documents you need to have to report when you choose real cost options. Only flat rate in this option A, financing option A, is related to office and administration costs, this budget line, which is also fixed on 15% of staff costs. It is not up to 15%, so you cannot choose 6 or 7% for office administration. Since it is automatically calculated, it is fixed on 15% of total direct staff costs. while staff costs are planned on a real cost basis, and other costs, other direct costs could include, you can see here on the right box, travel and accommodation and external expertise. So equipment and infrastructure is excluded from this budget line, budget category. Next financing option, option B, relays on flat rate. This is simplified cost option. This is really novelty for our program, but we hope that some projects will decide to use this simplified model to design their project budget. Flat rate of 40% on costs other than staff costs, meaning that you planned staff costs on a real basis, and for all other costs that you will need during the project implementation to deliver what you are planning to deliver. We saw what deliverables are expected to be produced. You apply flat rate of 40% for all other costs, all other needs. This category, which is included in flat rate, still include office and administration, travel, and external expertise. Just a reminder, even it is planned as a flat rate, no equipment, no infrastructure and works in this budget category, let's say. And what is important for this option, option B, that partners have to plan and report only direct staff costs, and based on the staff performance, all a flat rate of 40% will be automatically calculated and reimbursed to the projects during the implementation phase. So the final option, what we have here, it is option C. It is not a novelty. It was used also in previous calls for proposals. It is flat rate of 20% for staff costs. What that means? That means that direct costs are planned as a real cost basis. They can include travel and accommodation and external expertise costs excluded again, equipment and infrastructure. Based on this direct cost, you apply flat rate of 20% for staff costs, and you apply flat rate for office administration on level of 15% of staff costs. So two flat rates applicable in one project budget. Flat rates of 20% for staff costs and flat rate of 15% for office and administration are fixed. It is not up to 20, it is not up to 15%. So they are fixed if you choose this option C. Once again, just to wrap up this, each project proposal among partnerships must choose one of these three possible options. Option A, B, or C, you cannot combine them and you cannot choose it on partner level. That is the most important message of this choosing and starting point how to design your project budget. Next two slides are dedicated to go back one slide, please. So are dedicated to submission procedure and JS consultations. Just to remind you on this aspect, This is single-step procedure. We will not be requesting any additional documents besides those what are already prescribed in the code. And all applications must be submitted through the CU system only. No paper, no additional documents in paper versions to be submitted as an application. And also to prevent some administrative issues, burdens, questions that projects may, potential applicants may have, we actually set in the call a mandatory consultation with the JS, with my colleagues of JS, related to preparation of that project, specific project proposals. And request for meeting, you can send on email address listed here, only after opening, of course, new project application in CU, because you cannot, we cannot grant it more than one official meeting and consultation with JS per project proposal. And the final slide from my side, it is related to the time frame of this call. We have some past tense dates. In October was opening. The call will be closed on 6th December. St. Nicholas Day, just to easily remember this date. So we hopefully will conclude the admissibility check before the Christmas. Eligibility check is planned for January. Quality check of the received project proposals in February, with our goal and intention to start project in implementation in April, to finalize the contracting in March and start project implementation in April next year. This is time frame to which project dedicated to all available resources to really respect these quite challenging deadlines. So that will be all from my side. And now I'm available for all your questions related to financing aspects later, and I give the floor to my colleague to continue with the presentation.
Thank you, Bozana. Okay. Thanks a lot. So coming back to the communication, very interesting part for this call. Very, very much. Okay. I'll share my screen. Okay, and okay, and I'll be very, very quick. I will go straight to the point because I think it's really important to underline these two issues in relation to the communication and dissemination of these kinds of projects. So the most important two slides on the beginning, it's that, of course, the project communication, you know this already, starts at the beginning of the project, not when you are having just the results, and that means often at the end. This even more because, okay, in this cluster call, in these projects that are going to be financed, you will already have some results, okay, from which you need to start and communicate them as one. So at the beginning, of course, at the very, very beginning, you will communicate the project activities you are performing that will give life to the cluster, okay? And afterwards, and very, very quickly, because you know you have only 15 months. So it's rather important that you create the cluster very quickly and start from the communication then. So this slide is just to clarify to you, and I hope that this is useful for you because it's really important to underline that cluster communication is not communicating previous project results that have been gained in the projects that are participating in the cluster, because of course the project in TESA or others that are mentioned in the cluster, I just took it like an example, have already communicated their project results. This means that you have that the communication of the cluster arrives when you have created this new cluster. So the purpose of the communication of the cluster is that you take the previous project results, you remodulate them by the means of the methodology that you are going to set up among your partnership. And then you, when you identify an element of a common element of your cluster, you will start to communicate the thematical cluster Italy-Croatia that puts, of course, together the projects and the results that you have achieved, but you are not communicating the single projects, but a thematic cluster. This is a little bit different. This means, I repeat, that you need to identify a common element, common thematical element that connects you, okay? I think this is really important because this will be the way that will permit you to communicate the thematic cluster of the area Italy-Croatia. So for example, the cluster of not the communication of the project itself XY, but the cluster of the cultural roots of Italy-Croatia. This will help you also, and of course you have to identify relevant target groups for this activity. This will allow you also to be the reference point for all the area on some particular thematic and the topic that is in charge of your project. You will step out as qualified and experienced partnerships that are treating this thematic issue and that can help with the results that have been identified. For example, all or specific workers, employees, groups that are working in tourism, or you're going towards the policymakers and the public authorities to show them, to offer them a help and to communicate, to make visible what you have reaggregated in your cluster and how this results of this aggregation can be useful for your target groups and transferable to all the program area. Of course, it will be very important because you will have to identify, and by doing this, you will give a hint with your cluster for the 21-27 programming period, as it was indicated in the call announcement and the official documents. So basically, you take what you have, you find a common thematic element, and then you mix what has been already done, and you find the potential applications. Then you promote your cluster towards the relevant target groups. I think this is really important. So I really wanted to start with this, just to give you this highlight. Because the rest you already know, I will just read for you here again. You have been able to find it in the documents that there are, as also Lovro, my colleague said, there are minimum mandatory activities clustered around events, promotional campaigns and media relations, and digital web-based activities, which are, of course, the tools for your promotion, for your thematic promotion of your cluster that you will build up, identify the target groups, and then you will communicate your cluster, not just single projects. This is really important. This is the difference, but your cluster, okay? So the tools have been listed here. These are mandatory. You will need to organize one kickoff event and communicate it properly, and at least high-level event, and of course participate in events with the program and with EUSER thematic steering groups, because probably there will be quite a lot in the upcoming period. Of course, according to the timing, probably you will be able to cluster and find some touching points with standard projects, even if a lot of standard projects will end by the time that you will create probably a cluster. So you will have the strategic projects to confront with. However, other mandatory activities are promotional campaigns and media relations, as you can see. And what's really, really important, also taking into account the time we are facing now, is to push and boost digital and web-based activities that have been listed here just for the recap. So minimum deliverables are this. This means that these are minimum. So every other innovative approach that you can think about and propose in your application will be, of course, evaluated. You have seen that in this call, communication has lots of importance. It's around 35% on the score. You can see this in fact sheet 5, in a fact sheet 5 annex. Okay. And other obligatory tasks are, of course, always the project poster and the publishing information on your institutional website, highlighting the EU contribution at the beginning. This is something mandatory by the means of regulation, European regulations, and for the 14-20 period. I'm sorry, here I need to also underline, it skipped when I was updating my PowerPoint presentations for you. Of course, you will have your own website, as it was the case with the Standard Plus and the standard projects, and of course with the strategic. So you will need to update it constantly. And what we asked from you is, when the project is approved, rather than a strategy, a digital editorial plan to be identified for each semester that you will need to share with the JS, especially with me, because we will be able to, this way, to coordinate better for the upcoming activities, and also to see any kinds of synergies with the other strategic projects. However, this is something really useful that we want you to produce for every 6 months. Okay, maybe right, I'm also at the end. Mandatory for each project is to identify, as it was the case for the other projects as well, a project communication manager that can be the same person as a web content project manager. So it's the person that ensures smooth communication flow among the partnership. Here especially will be very, very important. And this is something that I heard before from the other projects. It happens that the project communication manager is not able to gather all the content. It seems like something very easy, but it's not. To know, because the program area is big, the project area is big, and the project manager, the project communication manager, is the person who is able to gather the information, not to wait for the information among the partnership to come, but to gather the information, to know in every time what is going on each territory, put it together and communicate it as one, okay? So this is really important. It's not so to be taken for granted. This is why I'm underlying this profile. And please, when you organize this activity, have in mind this very important figure. The person will be in constant coordination with JS and with myself, and other tasks, as you know, is content curation of the project digital channels and a constant update of the project website, and performing the checks in relation to the communication aspects on the project activities and deliverables, because these have to be communicated also through your project website, on the media. So it's important that the person is really into also all the program documents and so on. I think this is all from my side. I hope that I was clear. If you have any questions, please write down, or I'm available, as also Bozana said, with my colleagues to help you, to support you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Thea. Okay, we are in a terrible delay, but before passing to the last point of our agenda, I would like to first of all suggest you, if you have any problem, any need for clarification about for interpretation of the call and in general the application package, please address in writing to the JS any request, so that we can feed our FAQ in the website. Just to repeat what Thea already said, where to find our FAQ section: browse the web, go to our web site, homepage, click contact and help, and then you will find the three icons. Choose FAQ, of course, and then click on cluster call, and here you can find the FAQ already published. The FAQ already published are in this moment these. The first one, the first frequently asked question is that regarding the fact that the sentence, the same organization can be partner in more than one proposal, have to be intended as a constraint set at a call or cluster level. This is very important. The constraint is to be understood at a call level, so that the same organization can participate only in one project inside under the scope. The second, about partnership know-how experience. The question is, the partnership involved shall bring the know-how and experience from at least 3 different projects belonging to the same cluster from the list below. Now, is it possible that the contribution can come only from a single project partner? Our reply is yes, it is possible in principle, but we absolutely not recommend this, because this point, in this case, you will have a negative impact in the assessment of the proposal. Then, very simple, but we continue to be reached by a potential participant asking, can I participate to this call although my project is not listed in the call announcement? Of course, it is no. If you are not inside, if you're not partner of the project listed in the call announcement, you cannot participate to this call. The fourth fact is very important, because yesterday we received the okay about our interpretation from the national delegation of Italy and Croatia, and is related to the participation of CNR and the National Institute of Geographic and Experimental Geophysics. They were asking if they can consider as department like university. Now, after we are backed in this interpretation from the monitoring committee, we can say yes, so that the provision put in fact sheet 3 partnership for the participation of university shall apply by analogy to public national research institutions located in Italy or in Croatia. So this is very important, because we were asked several times about that. Now there was a potential partner which underlined the fact that in the application form online there is the reference to fact sheet 1, introduction and background, for filling the section F in cooperation criteria. Now, the fact sheet 1 anyway can be found in the application package of the other standard and standard plus call, but you can refer to fact sheet 3, paragraph B, partnership, CBC feature of project partner cooperation, because there is an extract of fact sheet 6.1. Then, what about the number of projects to be funded? My colleagues already explained that the program is expected to finance 1 project per cluster, so 5 projects, with the current budget of the call. But we have to consider that there can be the possibility, although remote, I hope, that projects are not, the quality of the project doesn't reach, the minimum to be financed, And from the other side, that in case of additional saving and so on, the monitoring committee can allocate additional resources, and then it is possible that, although in this moment unlikely, that more than one project will be financed. Then, what about eligible budget line? We received a specific question about the possibility to implement and so to has eligible cost for that. Implement small scale infrastructure. Well, as already explained by my previous colleague, no equipment or small scale infrastructure and construction work are allowed within the school. This is due to the nature of the expected activities already explained at the beginning of this info session. Then a technical question about the CU account. If I am a lead applicant and therefore I am already registered in CU with valid account, can use the same account to open a new proposal? The answer is yes, if you are already a lead partner. But if you are a partner, you must pass through the new registration via GUSI system. So I let now the floor for any questions and answer from the public.
Okay. So, Angelo, is it okay that we start with the questions?
Of course.
Okay. So, just give me a second, please. So. Okay, Silvia, so we said that we are starting from the questions that have been sent, that have been anticipated by you. So I think that some of these we have solved. Like the first one was, are you considering to finance only one project for cluster, or it could be even more than one? Okay, then.
Okay, this was already answered by Angelo, so it should be ideally one. At the moment, the available budget is for one project per cluster. So unless more budget is placed by the monitoring committee on this call, then there would be one project funded per cluster, per typology of cluster.
Yes. Okay, the second one was from Simona, the involvement of a set of partners of the projects enclosed in the proposal not having partner role, not associated partner role, rather as cooperation network the consortium can count on to, within the possibility to transfer best practices, represent an added value in terms of evaluation.
Yes, in this case, we can say that the transfer of best practice can have impact on one of the criteria put in the annex of fact sheet 6, which pertain to durability, sustainability, and transferability of result. So yes, represent an added value in terms of evaluation.
Okay, thank you. Alberto, no, sorry. The next question was from Teresa. According to the rules, only one institution can participate to the call, but how can CNR with 102 institutes be sure that only one will participate? The comment is it's hard to monitor at central level the participation of the institutes, especially if there is only a short period for preparing the proposal. I think that's also, this one was solved in FAQs, but I give any additional to Angelo or Celia. Comments, of course.
To this question, we already replied, and well, as a CNR are in a way assimilated per analogy to university, they can participate to as per department. So there is no this construct that only one must participate.
Okay. The next question was from Alberto about the duration of the projects and reporting periods. Since Alberto asked, the maximum project duration is 15 months, which would mean 2 6-month and 1 3-month reporting periods. Can the 3-month reporting period be merged with one of the 2 6-month reporting periods?
Yes, this was already in Bozana's presentation, so maybe Bozana, if you want to explain a little bit better.
Yes, actually, the intention was we did not put reporting periods. We did not define as a 6 months reporting period. We defined it as 2 reporting periods that we will have, covering the whole period of a maximum 15 months of project implementation, meaning that reports will be open to submit, clearly defined in subsidy contract, and the only 2 reports will be requested from the projects contracted under this call. So maybe one report will cover period of 8 months, but maybe even will cover period of 4 months. We cannot confirm because 15 months is the maximum duration and 2 reports are planned. Hopefully this is clear. We did not set it on a 6 months reporting period. Okay, Alberto is happy with the answer, so Thea, please proceed.
Yes, in the meantime, I was putting other questions from chat in my list. So we had another question. It was by Olivera about the budget template in Excel. We didn't find any indication among the published documents, so she asked, is there any Excel file for that?
No, I can now repeat once again. The program will not provide Excel files as tools for budget calculation, since it is advisable to do it in CU, as it is described also detailedly in fact sheets, which are part of this call, and also due to the fact that Excel as a tool is not fully compatible with any online platform such as CU or other platforms, and always some deviations are present in rounding and other things, so it causes lots of additional clarifications and questions. So we perceive that additional Excel tool is not useful, but anyway you can use any tool that might help you to design a budget, selecting one of these three options.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Bozana. The next question was about will the capitalization of the work from further ongoing Interreg projects that are linked to maritime activities be well received? That was a question from Folco. Hello, Folco, if you are here.
Yes, regarding the capitalization of other projects, this can be included in a dedicated box in the application form, which is dealing with synergies involving also other projects, other programs, and this can be further described there.
Okay, thank you, Folco. Is it okay? And the last question that we have received is from Miguel. Is the program trying to avoid any overlapping submission within the same cluster? Have one submitted project per cluster, bringing together as many project representatives as possible? Or you're willing to see high competition and select only the best ones? In the first case, will the program provide suggestions and hints about who to get in contact with in order to ease the process of single submissions?
Okay, thank you for the question. So,
Sorry. I put the questions, but I didn't get any answer concerning the work package 2. Because
excuse me, Roberta, we are taking first the questions, as I said at the beginning, from the project partners, from our G form, and we will give you the space afterwards. Thank you.
Okay.
yes, okay. To reply to the question about what is the aim of the program within the school in terms of participation and the number of expected number of applications. Of course, it is the aim of the program, of the monitoring committee, to be able to finance the best projects, the projects that are able to actually exploit as much as possible the results achieved by the current and ongoing standard and standard plus projects. Nevertheless, of course, it is we encourage on the different projects belonging to the different cluster to get in touch with each other. You will find, and I'm also taking the opportunity to reply to one question that I see on the chat, you can find all the contact details of the different project partners of all the cluster projects in the website, so you can check the contacts and get in contact with the potential partners. And of course, then the different applications that also apply to all call for proposal will be assessed according to the fact sheet 5 assessment criteria. So then the best projects will be then in the ranking list, in the final ranking list.
Okay, with this set of questions, we have closed this round of the questions that arrived before. I hope that everybody is happy with the answer received. Is there any further on this? Just on those arrived and replied now? If not, we can continue with other questions that we have received from the participants in chat. Is it okay, Silvia?
Yes, of course, thank you.
Okay. We have a question from Sabrina Susmel about the cluster indicators, and she's asking if there is a required number for the cluster indicators. Okay.
Yes, so as my colleague Lovro already presented before, there is a compulsory contribution to at least one indicator So in the list of all the indicators, all the projects have to contribute to at least one indicator. So this is the requirement. And there is not a minimum quantification, let's say, per each indicator. That was the question. So I would ask the participant to intervene in case we don't get it right, get the question right.
Okay. So the next question was from Roberta about the work package 2. She says we wish to organize 3 main relevant webinars related to specific topics. Okay, related to specific topics that will be linked to the activities of the WP3. For this reason, I kindly ask you where we have to insert the 3 webinars in the activities that have been suggested for the WP2. You can enter it in work package 2, of course. And you asked if you will need to enter this in a digital editorial plan. Yes, the digital editorial plan is basically per semester, where you indicate where, when, and what you are going to publish on your digital media. Of course, it can be linked also to the events as well. But the digital editorial plan will be produced when the project, if your project is approved and when it starts. And another question was also about work package 2 from Elena, to have an idea how many events organized by the program are foreseen. It could be also useful for the budgeting, for building up the budget. Well, you have 15 months of project duration, so you can foresee 3 events with a program or with other European institutions, organizations. You know that we have organized also other events with Interactor now, as we said, potentially with those thematic steering groups and so on. So you can foresee this number. We will have also the clear vision on the numbers of the events that are going to be organized by the program now at the end of the year, when we have also the tender, the big tender we have published when it's closed, so we can plan together the events for the upcoming year, all in detail for 2 upcoming years. But yes, you can foresee 3. Okay. Can we move forward?
Yes.
Okay. Since institutes have been so far the implementing units of our project, I guess that institutes are equivalent of universities departments. Is that correct? Asks Davide Bonaldo.
Yes, we confirm for the specific case of CNR, it is an institute that corresponds to department. Then, of course, each organization is organized differently, and you have to verify which are the characteristics of so-called department for the call for proposal. So independence, the control of the budget and all of that. So you have to double check that, but we can confirm that for CNR, we're talking about institutes. I take the occasion to respond also to other questions related to that. So basically, there is another question regarding simulated partner that can be considered as a CNR or OGS. So what it is important is that they have to be public national research institutions. This is the relation. So for the case of CNR and OGS that specifically asked the JS to provide a confirmation of their participation as department, we advise you to send a specific request also for your organization, just to make sure if you're not already included in the categories of the call for proposals.
Okay. So I have another question from CNR, divided in institutes that were effectively implementing previous projects and have autonomy of expenses. Could 2 institutes also participate to 2 different projects? I think that also this one was solved.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, another one comes from Andrea. Hi, Andrea. The question is, are you planning to share the contact list of the projects of the same cluster? It will be easy for us to get in contact with other projects to prepare the proposal. Thank you. Okay, Andrea, we used 2, basically, my colleagues, my coordinator can confirm. We used the 2 mailing lists for notifying the projects. The one from CEU, which were the official institutional representatives, and also another one that the colleagues created, taking the reference contact person from each of these project websites. So if you navigate through these project websites, you can see, as you know, that every project has its partners published with updated also reference contact person. So everything is really public, and you can, of course, take this information from the project website. Don't know if colleagues or my coordinator have anything to add.
Yes, we confirmed they have to check on the website for that. And also, they also find in the FAQ, I think, something similar regarding the where to find the contacts.
Okay. Another question from Sabina Susme. If a project partner was partner of 2 projects, how can we capitalize and manage that fact in forming a partnership?
I'm not sure I understand the question, but I can try to explain this. So this was also in one of the FAQ that my colleague explained before. Basically, regarding the partnership, you have some requirement, as you know, minimum requirement, at least 3 partners have to be involved. And the results that the cluster project wants to exploit and have to come from at least 3 different standard or standard plus projects, funded projects. So the case that in one partner there could be the results, there could be the knowledge, the know-how from more than one project in the same cluster is a possibility. So there is also, you will find in the application form the possibility to include more than one project that each partner can, of course, contribute with the know-how of more than one project in the cluster. And this has to be included, of course, as I said, in the application form. So you will have the possibility to select a first project you participated as a partner or lead partner that you want to bring in the cluster, but also to include the further projects that can be, of course, part of the exploitation activity. So I hope I have replied to this question, but if not, as I said before, suggest Sabina to intervene and better.
Yes, she can open the mic and intervene, of course.
I'm sorry. The bottom. When you... no, it's clear. It's perfectly clear. I'm sorry. I'm now echo. I don't know why I cannot see my bottom for the camera. Anyway, yes, it was perfectly clear. It was just to try to understand how to eventually form this new partnership and avoiding that, or trying to avoid is, if I have properly understood, that the same partner is going to be present in different projects. So one partner can be present just in one project, and we will capitalize their efforts and their results through the new forming partnership. That's right, no? It is the same for CNR section or section or of OGS and other institution, research institution. If I properly understood all the information. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Another question comes from Ornella Jadreškić. The question is if it's allowed to use technology developed in previous Italy-Croatia projects, so the partners in cluster project proposal could develop the same technology to promote their results from previous Italy-Croatia projects. There won't be any equipment, just the external experts for extension of using that technology for other project partners to promote their results from previous project. I think I understood the question. If Ornella, don't know, wants to clarify a little bit more.
Yes, hello, I'm here. So the thing is that there is technology developed in previous projects, and now in this cluster project proposal, partners want to use this technology to show the results from previous projects. So this was the question, if it is allowed.
Well, it's a bit difficult to reply because it really depends on what is the aim of that you want to reach by this type of activity. What we can tell you is that to really check very well because in this case you would have to check very well the P3 typology of activities. So the typology of activities, the typology of deliverables that are included there, and whether you can really find your desired activities within this type of actions. Of course, another let's say limit is the as you also wrote in the question, the budget lines that you can use, which do not include equipment or infrastructure. So you have to bear in mind that. And of course, the other constraint that I see here is that you have to think that the knowledge, the know-how that you are exploiting, that you are communicating, and that you are developing should come from different projects. So it's not only the know-how of one project that can make a cluster and can really, let's say, reach the objectives of this type of call.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm actually interested about this question of Ornella, but maybe I can follow up later because I have a question for her. I will go through the other questions. We have Margareta's one from CMCC. CMCC is not a national institution in the straight sense, but consists as a CNR of very different research institutions, foundations, body governed by public law. Does the same rule apply as for the universities, asks Margareta?
Okay. As already explained, only national research institution can be assimilated to university and so treated as department. So the reply is no.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Margareta, so we answered to that. Another question was from Ivan Matijašević. Hello, Ivan. So the budget is very challenging, especially if there are 6, 7, or 8 partners forming a cluster. Is this way? Is this what is left from previous periods? So there was no choice to make it larger, or it has been marketed, valued? I'm sorry, I'm not really sure to understand.
I will take over this question.
Yeah.
It is not marketed value. It is leftover what we had on a program level to put in this new call. That is one of the reasons why this call is really restricted in terms of partnership, in terms of availability of the budget, and in terms of expected activities, and consequently in terms of applicable and available budget lines. So this is, let's say, average calculation based on what we have as a leftover. So new calls will be more with more budget, hopefully in the new perspective, of course.
Okay, thank you very much. I was just trying to say the idea behind this is really, really great. And but I think that as you have said, those are the leftovers from the previous period. This is what I wanted to know, and I was guessing it was the case. And I just wanted to say that this will be quite challenging to run, you know, and to finish it on a quality level, especially the working package 2. I think the working package 3 is kind of something what can be managed quite on a quality level, but regarding the working package 2, I think well, that is also inside of the cluster. I would say allocation, how much they want to allocate to which work package, right? So if they want to allocate more, if each cluster want to allocate some more money on the events and dissemination, which is actually the purpose also from this call, are they available to manipulate with the budget related to working packages, or?
What do you mean, Ivan, manipulate with the work packages? I mean, you have already the results. You have to just re-aggregate them and communicate them properly to the proper target groups, as we said before. So you're not producing a new. You show potential applications.
Yeah. But the working package 2 is quite large, you know, and.
Yes, because it's the purpose to communicate the cluster, the thematic cluster.
Yeah. So my question was, how are we free to reallocate more budget to a specific working package, or are there any restrictions?
Bozana?
So if we want to. So if we want to put more money on events and less on the production of deliverables in working package 3, is that possible to have more funds concentrated on the working package 2 than on the working package 3?
We did not prescribe a limitation per work package, not even per budget line, assuming that each project will start from the partnership ideas and the needs and design it in one optimal way. Additional limits on work package level or budget level, like 30% for staff costs and other limitations, which are sometimes present in the call, are not part of this call for proposals. So you are free to really try to optimize this process and design the most optimal solution, let's say. And I could just say there is no 100% happiness in any process. So you need to balance.
Okay, you have answered my question. Thank you, Sofia and Bozana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ivan. We have the next question was led by Margareta. I don't know if it's a continuation, Margareta, if you want to intervene directly on the previous one. If there are more than 3 projects included and partners are in further projects, how will be this evaluated? Was that your question?
Yes, of the idea that having more than 3 partners in the cluster, 3 projects in the cluster, and reaching out to further projects, will that be a positive point, that partners bring experience from other projects, or is this a negative? You mentioned something like that. I really did not understand well when questioning, well, how is it valued?
That Angelo and Silvia already answered before on that question.
No, I didn't really get the answer. Okay, I'll
can we
check the
repeat,
registration.
please?
Yes, sorry, I think it's the one that I spoke already about before, that you can include in the application form the experience of each partner, so lead partner and partner. You will have a specific box to include one project that you bring as an experience in the cluster. So let's make an example. If one partner participates to cluster 1, and it was a partner of a standard plus and a standard project, both participating, eligible in cluster 1, he can, in the application form, include both projects as a contribution to the cluster. So the first project can be selected as a tick box, as a list of within a list of projects, and the second or third, depend on how many projects you have as a partner, can be included in a text box, so they will be anyhow evaluated.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, last question that arrived from Cristina Casareale. Hello, Cristina, and thank you very much. I would like to ask if for University 2 laboratories affiliated to the same department and already partners in 2 different projects are considered separately and can be part of 2 projects, or just one can participate as a representative of the department. To be more specific, when saying that the 2 laboratories are already partners of 2 different projects, I mean projects in 2 different clusters.
Okay. Now, as already explained, the participation is at the level of a department, so not of laboratories. So in this case, only a department can participate and not 2 laboratories. So only one project, although 2 laboratories are already partner in previous project. So the answer is no.
Okay. If I would just like to, because in the meantime I'm collecting, trying to put everything together. So please have some understanding. So just to follow up to Roberta, a question that was like a sub question on her first one. I would like to say that in the editorial plan, you should enter the communication activities related to the promotion of the webinar, if you ask that. And if related to specific activities, I'm sorry. Okay, if related to specific activities, then you should put webinar in work package 3. So it depends if the webinar is strictly related to technical activities or it's related to communication of the cluster results and achievements and goals. Okay. If any other question, you can intervene. I don't know, Silvia, what do you think? Other colleagues, if there are any other persons that would like to also intervene, ask.
Yeah, just we put the link to the FAQs on the website. You can find it also in the news, the latest news that we published. So you can also find there the link. And also in the presentation that we will share, of course, after this event. So in case of any doubt, of course, as my colleagues already said, please write an email to the JS and we will make sure that you get a quick reply and to solve any need. Just one last message. Please open the CU as soon as possible because it takes some time and you know, the code is not very demanding in terms of information to be included. We try to simplify it as much as possible, the application form, so it should be easy to collect the contents from your partners, but still you need some time to fill in the CU. So please, our piece of advice is to open the CU as soon as possible and to proceed with the application in time.
Okay, don't be shy. Anybody else? It's 1 o'clock, so we are half an hour later than expected, but we are quite happy if this session went also a little bit longer than expected. But if we manage to exchange with you and provide you some useful information or clarifications for the preparation of your project proposal. I can see that Sabrina, prego.
Sorry, just one more question. Did you take into account the eventual variation of the partnership, or once the project is submitted, there are no possibilities of intervention? Thank you.
Interesting question.
Well, the variation of the partnership is a major change, and the major change cannot happen before half of the project, unless, you know, in huge difficulties. We are talking about very short projects, so we really don't see how a major change can happen in such short projects. The timing to request it and to have it approved by MC, and I know that takes some months, and it would be very difficult to manage it in such a short time. So we really advise you not to count on this possibility.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other issues? want to say hello? Are you working already?
Yes, we are working already, but following the discussion of this morning, I'm a little bit surprised because your last answer concerning the webinars that we booked in the work package 2 was have a sense because we already discussed with the partnership to have these 3 webinars in work package 2 and link it to the work package 3 that is focused on other activities. So for me, it's very bad because we have to reformulate the project in another way as following your suggestions. So I'm not satisfied.
Okay, so I repeat that if the webinar, it depends if the webinar is strictly related to the cluster technical activities or if it's related to the communication of the cluster results and goals. It depends, you know, better the content and the purpose of your webinar and the innovative approach that you want to apply. Anybody else?
Okay, if more questions arise in the next hours or days, of course, we are able to reply in writing and we will publish as every week, generally on Tuesday, the FAQs. But if there's something important, we could also publish lately in the next days. So we also thank you very much for this participation, and I think that we can also go to an end. I don't see that no more questions are coming at the moment.
Okay. Of course, if anybody wants to intervene, it's time now. Otherwise, we will close this info session. Thanking you again, as Sylvia said, for your participation and interest. And then publishing also our presentations on the website and also giving the evidence. Okay, I have even had the problems with electricity and also giving the evidence on the program YouTube channel of this registration. Thank you, Luca. Thank you, everybody. Okay, if we want to have a screenshot of this session, just to say goodbye. If you want to turn on your cameras, I will try to make several of these. Thank you. Okay, that's nice. Just a second, please. Okay, smile. Thank you. Just others. Thanks a lot. Lovely. Thank you. I can see many faces I know. Thank you. I tried. I hope it will be fine for our Twitter channel. Okay. Thanks again.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.